What actually helps is an easy way that brings a focus back to you, your life, your values, your desires, and helps you work through it in a way that feels manageable. Well, hello and welcome back to episode 187 of Redefining Midlife. I'm your host, Jo Clark, and I'm so glad you're here with me today because I'm going to be sharing something that I've been working on behind the scenes for quite a while now, and I'm ready to share it with you. And let me be upfront right now. I'm equal parts terrified and excited because putting yourself out there isn't easy. But as you know, I'm a big believer in practicing what I preach. So here goes. Let's start with a question to set the scene. When did you last stop, and I mean genuinely stop, and ask yourself what you actually want and need in your life right now and into the future? And it's not about what needs doing, not what everyone else needs from you, but rather, what do you actually want? Well, for a lot of women I speak with, that question can feel almost impossible to answer. And it's not because they're not smart or it's not because they're not self-aware. They absolutely are. But it's because somewhere along the way, they just, stopped asking. Life got full, the roles piled up, and the version of themselves that had dreams and had desires and the things that she wanted to explore and do just got quietly pushed to the back. So if that's resonating with you, you're in exactly the right place today. Now, 6 years ago, I was in a place that I know a lot of you will recognize. On the outside, I was holding it all together. But on the inside, I genuinely didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't even know how to begin working that out. And I remember thinking, there has to be a way through this that doesn't involve starting from scratch or just blowing every single thing up. I just needed something to help me get clear, a way to slow down and look honestly at my life and figure out what I actually wanted in this next chapter of my life. What was that going to look like for me? I just couldn't find it anywhere. I mean, there was plenty of information there. There were books, there were articles, there were inspiring quotes, podcasts, all of it. And honestly, I was excellent at collecting information. I'd read something and think, yep, this is it. This is going to help me. And I'd feel like by doing that, I was doing something, that I was making some sort of progress. But I wasn't really. I was just collecting knowledge, and knowledge on its own isn't enough. And there's a saying that says, knowledge is only potential power. The real power is when you put it into action. And I had no idea how to do this. I mean, how can I put all of this great advice and wisdom into practice? There was just too much of it, and not much of it joined up, and none of it personal to me. So it wasn't really helping me put things together in a way that reflected my life, my values, and what I actually wanted. And to be honest, it was overwhelming. It made my confusion worse, not better. But I was determined to keep going and not give up. I worked it out for myself first, and what I drew on was something I'd spent decades developing as a teacher and an educator. The ability to take something that feels really complex and overwhelming and then find a way to break it down into steps that are clear, simple, and actually doable. And that's a skill I'd honed over a very long career. And it turns out, thank goodness, that it translates beautifully to this work. I was a test case and it worked for me. So I just started sitting with women, and hundreds of them from all walks of life, all different experiences and starting points. And I found a way to make this work for all of them. So that became truly exciting because what I've created meets you where you are. It doesn't ask you to be further along than you are or to have it all figured out. It just gives you a clear and gentle way to turn the lens back onto yourself and to start making sense of what you find there. And then here's the thing that I don't think gets said enough. You know, we've talked about it before. Midlife isn't one transition. It's happening often, many of them at the same time. Children leaving home, career shifts, relationships changing, parents aging, your body's changing in ways you didn't expect. and then your sense of identity quietly shifting. The roles you played for decades start to loosen, and you're wondering who you are without them. And I think that's where all of this help, all this information doesn't take into consideration. Because when you're navigating all of that at once, of course, it feels hard to know where to start with yourself. So, of course, you feel stuck or lost or questioning yourself. And of course, you just keep on putting up the books and putting them down again. It's not a personal failing. It's just a lot. And without the right kind of support, it's genuinely difficult to know where to begin. And here's what I've learned from working with women through all of this. The answer isn't more information. You've already got plenty of that and experience. What actually helps is an easy way that brings a focus back to you, your life, your values, your desires, and helps you work through it in a way that feels manageable. Now, over the past few years, through the podcast, through Instagram, through my workshops and events, I kept getting asked the same question. Women reach out and just say, Jo, I love what you talk about. I know I want to make some changes, but I honestly don't know where to start. Can you give me some pointers? And I think, and I wish I could just hand you something that could gather it all together. And I try to give the answers, but then I just wanted something that you could sit with in your own time, at your own pace, without any pressure from anybody. Because here's something else that I've noticed. Not every woman is ready to reach out for help, and maybe for help straight away. And that's okay. Some of us need to start quietly. I know I did. We need to get comfortable with the questions before we're ready to share them with anyone else. And that is not a weakness. That's actually your inner wisdom. It's knowing what you need and it's honoring it. So I wanted to create something that could be a first step, something private, something that was self-paced, and something that met you exactly where you are. But before I tell you more, I want to say something that I genuinely believe, and I want you to hear it. Because this time of life, well, it's one of the most fascinating, rich, and interesting times to get to know yourself. And I mean that. Just think about it. Most of us have spent our 20s and our 30s becoming whoever everyone else needed us to be. We were building careers, raising children, managing households, supporting partners, holding it all together. So there wasn't a lot of room to ask what we actually wanted. And now, right now, in this season of life, for many women, there's more space and time. And maybe for the first time in a long time. So it's not a crisis. It's actually an invitation we should accept. It's like a gift. And the women I see that are really thriving in midlife are the ones who get curious, the ones who look at this season and think, okay, well, who am I now? What do I actually want? What does the next half of my life look like on my terms? And that question, while it can feel daunting at first, is one of the most exciting questions that you will ever ask yourself. I promise you that. So, what did I create? Well, I'm excited to be finally sharing this with you today. And I want to be really clear about what this is and what it isn't, because I'm not selling you information. You can find that information anywhere. Books, Google, you can AI it. It's all out there. But that's not what this is about. This is a shortcut. It's a set of tools that saves you time and saves you energy, and it just cuts through the overwhelm. And most importantly, it helps you to get to know yourself on a deeper level than you might have had in years. And it's definitely everything that I wish that I had 6 years ago when I had no idea where to begin. And it's called Rediscover You. So what I've done is I've put together, based on years of coaching and mentoring women through this exact season, through all of the workshops that I've done, through the one-on-one conversations with thousands of women that I've met through this podcast, I actually understand what women want and what women need in this point of life. And Rediscover You is a result of all of that. So the first thing you'll find when you land inside Rediscover You is just a warm personal welcome video from me. It walks you through absolutely everything that's there in the Rediscover You program and helps you make the most of it from the very first moment. And I wanted you to feel held and guided right from the start. I just didn't want to hand you a bunch of resources and leave you to figure it all out. And then there's also a guided workbook that takes you through all of the 9 key areas of your life. Everything from your health and relationships to your career and finances to your personal environment and what brings you joy. Nothing's going to get missed and nothing gets avoided. You get to look at your whole life as a whole and you see clearly where you are and where you'd love to be. There's also a set of reflection prompts that go deeper than the workbook because the real answers, they don't always come from thinking harder. They actually come from asking better questions. And these prompts take you beneath that surface. They're the kind of questions that can genuinely shift things. I've also created a guided visualization for you, which is a calming audio that you can press play on whenever the noise gets too loud. And it helps you to reconnect with your inner voice and get in touch with what you actually want for your next chapter. And it's under 20 minutes and it can genuinely shift something. And I really love this one. I've also included affirmation cards, one for each of the 9 areas of your life to keep you grounded and focused in between the sessions, especially on the days when that inner critic is loud and you just need that gentle reminder of who you're becoming. There's also a monthly intention planner, so the insights that you gain don't just stay as insights. They can become those small, real actions for you to take, because that is where the change starts to happen, in those small steps. And the best part is that you work through all of this entirely in your own time. So there's no rushing, no falling behind, and no pressure. And it's yours to come back to again and again as you grow and evolve. And I want to talk to you directly for a moment about who this is really for. It's for the woman who knows something needs to shift, but she doesn't know where to start. For the woman who's been last on her own list for too long and is finally ready to change that. The woman who has the best intentions but keeps finding that life gets in the way before she ever gets to herself. It's for the woman who's experiencing an empty nest or is preparing for one. It's for the woman who's at a career crossroads or perhaps planning for her retirement. It's for the woman who is going through relationship challenges or changes. It's for the woman who has been a caregiver for aging parents or who is experiencing grief after loss. It's for the woman who has had a health crisis and wants to live life to the full. So it's actually for the woman who knows there's more for her and who's ready to make the most of this one beautiful life that she's been given. And maybe it's for the woman who isn't quite ready for a full one-on-one mentoring yet. And Rediscover You is a beautiful low-pressure way to begin, to get comfortable with exploring new ideas and new ways of being, to start building that relationship with yourself again. And who knows, maybe one day I'll get to support you even further. I would genuinely love that. But there's no pressure. This is a great starting point for you. So it's for the woman who just wants to feel clearer, more like herself, more excited about what's ahead. So if any of that is sounding like you, this is for you. Now, I've also kept the price for Rediscover You at $47, and I want to tell you why. I've just simply given you the keys. I've handed them to you. I've handed you the tools you need to begin, because I believe every woman who wants this kind of clarity should be able to access it, not just those who are ready for a full mentoring investment. Rediscover You is for everyone. It's a small price for a resource that could genuinely change the way you see yourself and what's possible for you. Now, there are a couple of ways for you to get your hands on Rediscover You. Firstly, you can find the link in the show notes. Just click through and you'll be taken straight there. Or you can head to my website, joclarkcoaching.com/shop and you'll find the link to purchase. Or if you're listening on the go and the show notes just aren't your thing, send me a message on Instagram and just type in the word Rediscover, and that link will be sent directly to your messages. Simple as that. I'm not making it hard for you. Now, I consider you, my listener, as a friend. And as your friend, I want to leave you with this message today. This time of life, as full and as complicated and as difficult as it can sometimes feel, is genuinely one of the most exciting opportunities that you will ever have to come home to yourself, to figure out who you are now and what you want the next half of your life to really look like. You spent so long showing up for everyone else. It's time to show up for you. And don't waste this opportunity, because how much time do you think you've got? Our life is short. And remember, it's just those small steps that we can take now that is just going to lead us to big changes for the future. So ask yourself, if not now, when? So thank you so much for being here today. I would love you to be able to purchase Rediscover You and start this next chapter. And until next week, you take care, and we'll have another wonderful episode of Redefining Midlife coming straight into your ears. Take care. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate, follow, and share it with another incredible midlife woman. And join me next week as we keep creating an amazing second half of life.